Good evening, beautiful people, or for Carol, who is tuning in from New Zealand live right now, doing a one-woman show in the Fringe. Good morning, Carol. 10 a.m. Tuesday there, just gone 9 p.m. Monday here. So basically, you're in the future. So if you could get the lottery numbers for us... drop them back into the past. We'll put it on for you, and we'll just share the winnings. Let me know. Let me know if that's a plan. How are you, everybody? Thank you so much for joining me. If you're watching on the replay, listen on the replay. That really means the world. As always, please kind of try and get in touch with me if you are on the replay, just by leaving a comment. #replay. If you're listening on the Acts on This audio experience, a tweet would mean the world. Just at Acts on This TV, at Ross A. Grant. Take a picture of your surroundings. Let me know where you are listening from. Maybe you're on the recording in New Zealand or Australia. I just want to see where you're listening from. A few people have been doing that now, so that really means the world. So how are we doing, everybody? Brand new week. Anything could happen this week. As always, I've been saying this for years. This could be the week. I want everyone to be optimistic, to sort of be positive. Even if your week has started as a bag of crap, right? It's okay. Like, it doesn't have to end that way, okay? We have got many days left yet. Carol, like I say, you're a bit ahead of us, but we've also got many days left before Friday. We've got enough time to make an impact in our lives, in our careers, and other people's lives, and other people's careers as well. So hopefully that's what we're going to be doing tonight. I've got loads to cover with you between now and just before 10 o'clock. I'm going to get off just before 10 o'clock because I'm going to run down to Sainsbury's and do a small food shop, if I'm honest with you, because I haven't done any this week, and I have nothing in for breakfast tomorrow. So I'm just going to need 5 minutes to go and do that. But we've got plenty of time. Let me take you over to actsonthis.tv. If you're watching here for the first time, this is a website that I've run for the last 13 years. Every single week, we sit down with the biggest casting directors, agents, actors, writers, directors, producers in TV. We host private Zoom calls or podcasts every single week, ultimately giving you insider info on how you can progress your career further much faster. You're genuinely getting the inside edge, honestly, on all of your competition, because so few people actually, I don't know, I think take their career seriously enough to put it in their own hands. They leave it all to their agent. Everyone in the Acts on This community is like, screw that. Yes, I have a great agent. Yes, they're my business partner. I'm absolutely going to work with them. We're going to work as a partnership, but I can do so much on my own as well because my agent's got so many other clients to look after. They might only be able to put in, 30 minutes for me this week across 7 days. I could do, 10 times that today if you were willing to put the work in. So I'm just going to go over to the preview features section, just show you what's been going down on actsonthis.tv recently, because I'm going to play out the trailer for this podcast that I dropped for you guys last week. It's an incredible 2-hour deep dive with Academy Award-winning, Oscar-winning, whatever you want to say, writer and actress Rachel Shenton. You'll know Rachel she currently stars in All Creatures Great and Small. You'll have known her way back in the day from Hollyoaks. She did Switched at Birth in America. Lots and lots of TV. She won an Oscar for the short film that she wrote and starred in called The Silent Child, with her and her husband Chris. Just an incredible story. Ultimately, the incredible story is in the film, is an incredible story, but Rachel has an incredible story in her own life. Lots of adversity that nobody really knows about, but we touch a lot of in this podcast. So that was this week's feature. I'm going to play a little trailer of that in a minute. For those people who missed last week's feature, the replay's up in the members area. I'd urge everybody to go and watch this if you haven't already. This was a 90-minute deep dive with Coronation Street director Jason Wingard, who messaged me today to say that there's been lots of people getting in touch with him with their show reels after this. He talks about how you can do that in this chat. And his email today literally said to me, bless him, that he's well impressed with the stuff that he's got through. And when he next does a block of Corrie, he will definitely be auditioning some actors, I don't know which ones, but some of the actors who have sent in their reels from our community. And that's he's a man of his word. You guys have obviously done yourself justice by sending him whatever you sent him. So if you've not watched that yet, go and freaking watch that. Analyze what he asked for in that session. Send him your reels in the way that he tells you to in that session. It could well lead to an audition for Coronation Street with you. That could change your career. That might be, for you right now, a massive career changer because maybe you're looking for your first CV credit or whatever. So do go check that out. Just going to jump back on camera. Obviously, there's hundreds of hours of further features in the members area for anyone who isn't a member. If you're not a member, you need to get involved. It's £6 a week, basically. It's cheaper than... It's almost cheaper, to be honest with you, than a large latte from Starbucks with an extra shot of syrup in it. That's about a £5. So, like, what do you want? One coffee? You know, give you a caffeine boost for 30 minutes? Or do you want the inside info to ultimately get you auditions for Coronation Street and other shows that you wouldn't get otherwise? Come get involved. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to play out this trailer for the podcast that I dropped last week. It's really, honestly, it's freaking great. And if you have watched the full version of this already, whilst this is playing, just drop me a comment on Facebook. Just let me know what you thought of it, because I just want to discuss some little parts of it in a minute and play some other videos out, and just gonna have a little chat about some of the themes that came up in this. Get ready, there's lots of sort of explosion noises in this trailer, so you might want to turn your speakers down. Here we go.
It's understanding that the game is unfair. Life's really unfair.
And the Oscar goes to The Silent Child, Chris Overton and Rachel Shenton.
How was it going? I've just won the biggest accolade in the world.
Like being handed the keys to a Ferrari when you've just got your provisional license. It's like, it's terrifying.
Our movie is about a deaf child being born into a world of silence.
If we knew what could have gone wrong, there's no way we could have done what we did. The reality of winning an Oscar is...
Yeah, that first year out of Hollyoaks wasn't great, yeah?
Yeah, it was the worst year of my life, to be honest. Yeah, I was really poorly when I left. I've never said this before.
Did your career even matter at that point? Or was it just like, I just need to live?
You have to go through these different troubling times in your life, because that the objective of being here is to grow.
Do people really feel imposter syndrome, or are they just not quite confident in their ability?
To be all right with change as an actor is absolutely imperative. I don't know really if you can make anything your total identity. I think it's dangerous. I think if you focus so much on being this one thing, then what happens when you're not? Success isn't final in our industry.
Are you saying that when you were starting out in the arts industry, Academy Award winning Rachel Shenton, you wish Acts on This had existed and you would have joined?
Go on then, yeah.
Oh, so many themes to talk about in there. And you heard it at the end there, folks. Oscar-winning Rachel Shenton. If actsonthis.tv existed when she was starting out, she would have joined it. So if you're not an Oscar winner yet, basically join actsonthis.tv and we'll help you get there. We will help you get there. No word of a lie, I helped Rachel get there. She'll even vouch for me on that. That's not even a joke. I've known Rachel many years. So I think I deserve at least a third of her Academy Award. But there's so much to kind of unpack there. I'm just looking in the comments on Facebook. Lots of people have said that they've started watching this, or that they've watched the whole thing, and just how good it was. I think what I love more than anything about this interview is just the sort of no BS. I don't know, kind of the absolute no nonsense attitude that Rachel's taken to life in the industry, and she's been through a lot of adversity. I won't talk about it publicly on this because it's all in the podcast itself. There was a particularly troubling time in her life when she left Hollyoaks. She faced ultimately life-threatening illness. She's never spoken about that publicly before. I said I wouldn't speak about it publicly online. It's in the interview, so she's very happy for people to go and check that out. But one thing that rode the whole interview, even when it came down to that, is that ultimately, and it says at the beginning, that life isn't fair. This industry isn't fair, and that's absolutely okay, because nothing is. And you've got two options in your life. One is to sit and complain about how it's not fair, and the other one is ultimately to play with the cards that you're dealt, play the best game you can, and then if you can, above and beyond that, skill up, level up, gain more capability, so you can maybe change some of the things in the world that you see as injustices and things that aren't fair. But until you actually stop complaining that life isn't fair, nothing can kind of be done about it. And that might sound brutal. I don't mean that in an horrible way. Like, life sometimes fucking sucks, you know. David Martin, incredible casting director, was at his funeral last week. 42 years old, died of lung cancer. That's unfair. There's no justifying that. I can't say, oh, that was for a reason, or no. I'm very much look on the bright side of life, be positive, things happen for you, not to you. I can't do it with stuff like that. Like, how did that happen for him? I can't on things like that. But, whether casting directors are asking for self-tapes or not, that's just pointless complaining about. Like, I've seen so much of that going on this week with articles here, there, and everywhere. And I just think they're completely taken out of context. There's no casting director worth their salt in this industry. I spoke to every single casting director more or less over the last 13 years on ActsOnThis.tv for a live mastermind session or a podcast. Every single one has said how much they champion actors. Every single one has said how much, they're willing to obviously discover new talent. It's their job. They want to see new people. And every single one of them has said that how self-tapes has changed the game in a very positive way because they can now see more actors than they used to be able to see in person, but not to the point that I'm seeing in these articles that are saying, oh, they're seeing hundreds of actors per role now. They're not necessarily, not unless it's a really specific, crazy worldwide search for generally children, because they're not that easy to find on Spotlight and stuff like that. But, big casting directors, Daniel Edwards, Victor Jenkins, they're not seeing 200 people per role because they are brilliant casting directors. We have to have faith in the fact that they know how to do their job. It wouldn't be doing a very good job if they had to see 200 actors for a role, because they should have a wealth of knowledge in their head of actors already that would be suitable that they've met in their life to bring in. So they might bring, it could be 30 tapes, and then they whittle that down to maybe 6 people, 10 people that they then bring into the room. But I'm just seeing a lot of complaining. And the one thing that is the overriding common denominator for every successful person I've had on ActsOnThis.tv is they've just cracked on with it. They've just got on and not blamed anything else. If they're out of work, they blame themselves and they go, what can I do about it? What capabilities can I gain? How can I work around this problem if it's a big problem? How can I get on with it? Because we know dwelling, and looking in the rearview mirror, you cannot drive your life forward. So it's just that interview with Rachel is littered with that, even taking responsibility in a way for this illness that she had and going, right, well, I could just say life's not fair, give up now, because it could have killed her without a doubt. But she just went into pragmatic mode. Right, what's the diagnosis? What's the chances? And let's do everything we can to get through this. And good on her, because she smashed it, she beat it, and now she's absolutely fine. And from that, she's realised that all of this stuff that we complain about in the acting industry that's so trivial in the great scheme of things actually doesn't matter. She said, when I was in the hospital, all I kept thinking is, fucking hell, like, getting an acting job is so easy compared to this. Like, why did I ever complain about how hard the industry was when actually life can be this hard? So like I say, it's all relative. I'm certainly not, poo-pooing on anybody who is in a bad place right now. I've been in tough spots myself over the years, and sometimes it's very, very difficult to change that mindset and get up and go, right, come on, let's do something about this. Sometimes you need to lie there for a few days feeling bad, feeling sorry for yourself, not wanting to get out of bed in order to get sick and tired of feeling that sick and tired that you're like, right, I'm ready to do something. But I just love that interview. I'm going to be putting out more and more content from that. Little snippets on TikTok and stuff, on Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels, YouTube Shorts over the next couple of weeks. So if you're not a member of ActsOnThis.tv, and right now, like I said, it is only £6 a week, but I understand right now that might even be out of people's reach, and that's totally cool. That's why I do these Monday Night Lives for free, and I do loads of free content on Twitter and Facebook and stuff. Keep an eye out, because I will put more of that interview out for free over the next couple of weeks. But if you want to get access to the full thing instantly right now, and join us for this week's call that I'm going to tease you with in a minute. We're doing a live call tomorrow night with an incredible director, just for members of ActsOnThis.tv. Get yourself over to the site, ActsOnThis.tv, get a membership, and you can join us. Let's just see what's going down in the comments before we carry on. Natalie says, started off the week by booking in a short film audition and scheduled an email to Jill at Hollyoaks. Nice. If you've not seen, I'm guessing you've seen the session we did with Peter Hunt, head of Hollyoaks Casting, about 3 weeks ago. He talks all about the people in his office. Jill is his right-hand woman. She's amazing. There are other people in the office as well, though. You might want to CC some people in. Hattie, for example, just as a suggestion. But you might want to write her a separate email as well than that. You don't have to just send her the same when you're sending Jill. Alex has started the Rachel Shenton session. Needs to finish it this week. Alex Joe, good evening. How you doing? Caroline says Rachel is a Bobby Dazzler. Fabulous. Mark, how you doing, mate? Thank you for being here. Yeah, Joe, in terms of Coronation Street, it doesn't matter if you're not based in the north. You know, I've done Casualty, that's shot down south. Well, it's shot in Wales, actually, but, you know, Doctors shot down south. Loads of jobs I've done down south, and I'm based in the north. I think this is a misconception a lot of people have when they think they're not going to be wanted on any of the northern serial dramas like Hollyoaks or Emmerdale or Coronation Street if they're London-based, and that's really not the case at all. You want to cultivate the most opportunity you possibly can, Joe, and that would be getting yourself in front of if it was me, and my whole philosophy is get myself in front of as many casting directors as I possibly can, build rapport with as many people in the industry as I can, you know, show as many people in the industry my work in a tactile, you know, classy way, not in a desperate way, and then just, you know, cultivate those relationships and just wait for those seeds to spring up, you know, into little saplings, and then eventually they grow into big trees, Joe. So yeah, just start putting in the groundwork now. Georgie says, so true. Andy Pryor's tweet about it said it all, that by getting hundreds of people taping for each role is wasting the actor's time in the long run. It is pointless, Georgie. That's what I mean. I just think some publications and also people who just love complaining want to twist anything that they can to give themselves an excuse for why they're not successful. And and that just sounds a bit brutal, but I'm like, I have a bit of a zero tolerance to complaining because that's the standard I hold for myself. And maybe I think it's probably a defense thing in my own life. Like, I almost feel like I have a visceral, like, I kind of try and repel complaining. I feel it is something that I started to look at a few years ago. You know, when you meet people for the first time, right? And everyone who meets me now is going to think of this when they speak to me for the first time. But I would quietly observe how often an actor complained about things in the first 30 minutes of meeting them. And I believe you can tell an awful lot about somebody and where they're at in their life in general by the amount of times they complain in the first 30 minutes of meeting somebody. And I just find, a lot of actors want to do that. And I get it, because it just takes accountability away from themselves and makes themselves feel a little bit better about, you know, maybe not succeeding in an industry that is notoriously tough. You've come into this industry with your eyes wide open, and I have all the empathy for people in the world when it's hard, because it is hard. It is, you know, there's no denying that whatsoever. And as Rachel said, it isn't fair, but nothing in life is fair. You know, it would be a lot harder if we were dropped into the middle of the Ukraine right now. You know, no one gives a shit about an acting job there. The president is an actor. He's not bothered about. I mean, God, I'd give him any role in the world. He could be James Bond, like the next James Bond. But you've got to put things into perspective, haven't you? And go, look, come on, what are we complaining about? And yeah, I just started sort of like observing how much people complain in the first 30 minutes of meeting them. And you could tell the people who were winning, the people who were losing. The people who were winning were the ones who were taking full responsibility for their lives and their careers. And the ones who were losing were basically pointing fingers at everybody else. And I just think there's a lot of that. And it only takes one, because casting directors as well and directors are not fallible. They're all infallible. They're all human beings, and they will struggle as well. There are like in our section of the industry, there are levels to our work. There are entry-level jobs, you know, and then there are people working at the top of the industry and the biggest stuff, starring in it, leading the shows, and then everything in between. It's the same in casting directors' world. You've got casting directors who cast with respect, some of the lower-level jobs, and they will find, you know, things probably more stressful. I don't know actually about stressful. Stressful is probably the wrong word. But their lives in general might be more stressful than the people working at the very top who have the bigger teams. They're still going to be stressed because they're working on the biggest projects, but they've got bigger teams. They're getting paid more money. You know, things are going to be a bit better for them. So casting directors are not infallible at all. And you might find people who are just having a bad day and they'll make some kind of complaint on Twitter. And because actors love agreeing with casting directors in general on Twitter, because in the hope they'll click on their profile and probably give them an audition, this person who's complained gets all this validation off 150 actors, and then the 150 actors retweet this thing about complaining, and then to sort of agree with this person because they want to back them up and they want to be seen by them for an audition, you'll get another 150 actors agreeing and saying the same thing. Before you know it, we've just got like an echo chamber of complaining about something that isn't even real. And So I'm glad a few casting directors, if you say Andy Pryor, I didn't see that tweet, but if Andy Pryor put a tweet out saying, we just do not, there's no point in auditioning hundreds of people per role. Because I've never seen that. I've worked in casting. I know a lot of casting directors. I interview them every week. No one sees 300 people for the sake of seeing 300 people. As I say, mostly, the big searches for cast are generally when it's younger cast members. Like Heartstopper was a huge open call, on Netflix to a certain degree, because they were looking for a very, very specific thing, So there's a reason casting directors at the top of the game get paid decent money. They do, and they deserve it. Because they have a knowledge of the best actors for the job, and it's your job as an actor to get in that casting director's head, to be in their mind when they're thinking, oh, which 30 should I bring in for this? Which 30 should I give a tape to? They're not thinking which 400 should I give a tape to. So yeah, no complaining. Like I say, I think I have that reaction to complaining because it's how I deal with stress in my life. I don't allow myself to complain. I think it's how I was brought up. Our parents influence us a lot, don't they? My dad was a Scotsman, incredibly practical. He probably was never allowed to complain. He was one of 8 kids. His dad died when he was dead young, so it was his mum bringing them all up, and they probably weren't allowed to complain. And I was not allowed to complain growing up. It was right, even if I was ill, my dad was like, right, well, what are you doing about it? You either go to bed or you go to the doctors. And I was like, Dad, I'm 8. I don't know, I got chicken pox, but you weren't allowed. I mean, he was compassionate. But I think I've taken that on board growing up, and I just go, look, if I've got a problem, if I can do something about it, let's do it. If I can't, let's try and not worry about it. So I think it works. It's probably not, no one's perfect, are they? But let's just try and make positivity louder this week on Twitter and social media. Not negativity louder, because the industry, honestly, we do have a beautiful industry when we focus on what's right with it. And there's a lot right with it. Of course there's stuff wrong with it, but not everything. Alex says, if you don't have your health, then you don't have anything. Yeah, mate, honestly, and watching David Martin's funeral last week, again, just hit home so much, just how so much of the nonsense we all complain about, myself included, is just not relevant and just not important at all. So we need perspective. Andrea says, I met my acting hero on Saturday night. Andrea, I didn't see you on Saturday night. Joking. I was at a film premiere and saw him. I first saw him in Blood Brothers way back in 1990, and he was the reason I absolutely wanted to be an actor. So, of course, I had to go over and tell him he was lovely and was touched. Happy lady. Andrea, who was it? Or just leave it anonymous. Leave the mystery. If anybody can guess, let us know. Let everybody guess in the comments, Andrea, until somebody gets it right. Alex, I love that as well, what you just said. Yeah, Matt Hall, on a podcast I did with Matt Hall recently, he says, pass the blame, pass the power. I love that. Pass the blame, you pass the power. And you really do. You give it all away, because you're like, if it's someone else's fault, then what are you going to do about it? You can't do anything. Whereas if you go, hang on a minute, I'm not working, I didn't get that audition, didn't get this, blah, 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 because maybe there's something that, I didn't do, I can change. Even if it wasn't your, you didn't get a job. I didn't get that job with Michelle Keegan last week because I just didn't look like the pilot who was flying the helicopter. Long story, but I didn't look like someone else who was in the scene, and I needed to. And that's just the way it is. Nothing actually I did there. But for me to pass the blame, who do I pass the blame to? Oh, Mum and Dad, I'm gonna blame you because you didn't look like, you didn't give me the genetic mix of genes that I needed to look like this guy. It's just pointless. All I can do is go, okay, let's pass the power back to me. What can I do to stay in with the team who were going to give me that role so that they give me another role because there's still 5 episodes to film? And that's exactly what I did, and I'm going to the second block read-through the Monday after next. So maybe there'll be something coming up in that. If not, I still get to stay in a room of beautiful, amazing actors and get to act opposite, some household names. It's still a win. Even if it's not for the telly, but yeah, you got to get. It's like that thing on Take Me Out. Power's in your hands. Power is in your hands. Let's have a look. Sounds like people pleasing. Caroline, is that what I was saying about Twitter? Twitter is just people pleasing. Caroline, a casting director could literally write anything on Twitter, or not even, because, and this is the thing as well. This is why it's so important for you to know who the relevant casting directors are, because anybody could just, I'll pick Alex again because your comments on the screen, Alex. Alex is a great actor. But Alex, you could set up a Twitter profile tomorrow, put Alex Hewitt casting, and you could literally write in the bio, top, sort of like UK leading, because that means nothing, does it? They always use that. Leading UK casting director for film and TV. No one can do shit about that. Because there is, ultimately there's sort of nothing stopping anybody doing that. And then you'll get 1,000 actors who don't know the industry, who are not members of ActsOnThis.tv, who don't have the Ultimate Contacts database, who don't know who the casting directors are, who are casting what. They don't understand the industry, and they'll go, oh my God, Alex, leading casting director in the UK. Right, 1,000 actors will follow you. You put out something, there's complete nonsense, and you'll get 1,000 actors all commenting on that because they think that by agreeing with you, you will look at their profile somehow and give them an audition. So it's why it's important to really know this business. But Alex, you could always be a casting director if you want, because you can just put it on your profile. Anyone can be whatever they want, can't they? On their Instagram profile and their Twitter profile, you can be whatever you like, basically. Twitter police aren't doing anything about it. So just be careful. Do your research on people. Sometimes they're not all what they seem on social media. Let's have a look. Caroline says, you said, does Fanny still come in? Fanny Compton, not seen her on a live broadcast in years. I think Fanny Compton got into music. Fanny was a member of Acts on This many years ago. Hilarious. She used to do a lot of comedy sketches. She was wild. Fanny, if you ever watch this, hope you're doing well. But I think she started doing a lot of singing and stuff, Caroline. I don't know if she still acts or what, but yeah, Fanny was absolutely off her head. Andrea's clue on her dream actor is from Teesside. I don't know, Andrew. I don't know who that is. Sharon, how you doing? Lolly, good to see you. Right, going to move on to the next thing I want to talk about, because like I say, we're cutting it a little bit early tonight. Got about 20 minutes left. So I've recaps on Rachel. Oh, what I just want to say thank you so freaking much, first of all, to any member of ActsOnThis.tv who has left me a review this week on Trustpilot. It means the world. I am massive on transparency. I'm massive on like member experience on ActsOnThis.tv. I want to be the leader in the acting industry for transparency, for honesty. I try and sort of like run my business with absolute integrity. And, there's a lot of acting industry businesses that just don't. There's people who never advertise prices. There's people who, promise the world and under-deliver massively. There's people ramming workshops with way too many actors, charging you extortionate prices, so you just don't get enough value from those. So it's like, you know what, Ross? Like, if you're talking, all about this, then lead the way. Be the change that you want to see in the world. So I sent all premium members an invite to review their membership on what I think is the leading review site in the world, to be honest with you, Trustpilot. And I just want to say thank you to the 102 people who have reviewed Acts on This and their membership this week. We got a 4.9 out of 5-star rating. I think I've got 99 5-star ratings, 3 4-star ratings, and I'm totally cool with a 4-star rating. No one's perfect. I'm totally open to people telling me how I can improve the membership, but it really, really freaking means the world for that. And it means that I can then put it on the website. So you'll see things like this where you can click on it. You can read our reviews on the website. If you're not a member, that's on this.tv. Click on any of the Trustpilot review links and you can just read some of the reviews that have been left today. Particularly like this one. Who wrote this one? Jill McVeigh, you legend, says all actors should have a membership. All actors should have a membership. I have no idea how any actor could function in this industry without the amazing support, superb advice, and incredible insights from industry experts, all of which is an offer in one place here at Acts on This. A massive amount of work is put into guiding both emerging and experienced actors through the challenges facing this business, worth every penny. Thank you, Jill. Saw that one come through today. I was like, yes. So just thank you. If you would be up for leaving me a review, if you're enjoying your membership, if you just drop me an email, ross@actsonthis.tv, I will send you a review link so you can do that. It just means if I send you a link, it's classed on Trustpilot as a verified review. They'll know it's a legitimate customer. So rather than just leave an organic review on there, if you just email ross@actsonthis.tv, I will send you a verified link. Just because I think that's important. When you go on like Amazon reviews, and sometimes you'll read a load of reviews and you'll think, are these real or what? Because they don't have like verified purchase next to them. I want everything to have a verified or an invited badge next to it on Trustpilot, just so people know it is from genuine people in the membership. So thank you so much to those people who have done that. I just wanted to say that. That means the world. And now I just wanted to talk about. I've got one video. Who's been what? I just saw this. I saw this in the archive before, and I thought it ties into what Rachel was saying about, just freaking doing it, just having the courage to take responsibility for yourself and have belief in yourself, regardless of the rules, regardless of how the industry is sort of like. I don't know. She was kind of boxing Rachel in, or how it was perceiving her. She's like, "Look, I'm just taking full accountability for myself, and I'm just going to go out there and just get what I deserve." And who's been watching You on Netflix? The new series of You. It's freaking brilliant. Jane says she'll be signing up for a yearly membership in April when she gets paid. Yes, Jane. As soon as you do, Jane, tweet me at It's on this TV. Let me say thank you. Drop me a tweet. Let me give you a shout out on Twitter for that. That'd mean the world. Let's just talk about You for a second. It's my favourite show, probably of all time, to be honest with you. At least sort of like Netflix show. Incredible sort of thriller. I don't want to give any of the story away, but you must know it. Joe basically likes to kill people. In the first few series, sort of does it by accident in a way, but the fourth series is very different. And a guest of ours and kind of mate of mine, I did some speaking with him, Ed Spleers, plays the character Reese in it. Really good looking guy. You'll know who Reese is if you've watched season 4. I just found a clip of the last time I had Ed on at onthis.tv, and I just want to play it out in a minute. I'm going to try and get Ed on to do an in-depth podcast with me, because I just think he's brilliant. And again, he's faced a shitload of adversity in his life. We spoke at a mindset conference together. That's where I first met him. And then I brought him an Acts on This, and belief and mindset are just so freaking important. So I'm going to play a clip out of that in a second. Just want to just see some more comments. Caroline, thank you. Says you deserve the reviews, Ross. You worked hard for years. Just 13 years, Caroline. Doing my best, but thanks. Really appreciate that. Maya says, did leave you a review on Trustpilot, but it was in my married name, Maya Clark, not as Maya Van Meurs. Hope that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all, Maya. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. That's awesome. But yeah, let me just play this little clip out from Ed, and let me know if you have been watching. You on Netflix. I would highly recommend it. I've only just started season 4, so I'm going to treat myself to an episode when I get into bed tonight. What was the trajectory like initially in terms of, you getting, kind of just getting back in the game and just, continually, striving to work on big stuff, because you've been successful. I'm sure it's not all been a straight road and a bed of roses, but what were the things along the way that, you can maybe impart to others now that are going to help them, just move forward?
I think the biggest thing I had to learn about was discipline and belief. I think discipline and belief are two vital things you need as an actor, and I don't think belief can very easily spill into being egotistical or arrogant. And it's not about that. And the belief thing is something I personally am constantly having to work on. Constantly having to look at myself and look at what can be done to trust myself that I'm capable and good enough of doing, of the job that's been put before me. But I think in terms of trajectory, it was a rocky road. I'm not going to lie, Ross. It was time that took a lot of hard graft. I basically went back to level 1 and started building up. And even now, I would say a weakness of mine is I'm never really satisfied, which is a good thing. It's a good thing to an extent, but it can eat away at you. And this ties in with what we've just been talking about. But I think my biggest drive over the last few years in particular has always just been to try and find something in each project that is a new challenge, is something I haven't done before, so that if that is the case, I will find that happiness and I'll find that excitement every time there's something in there. If it's something I've done before, then it's going to be a lot harder. I'm going to fall into those routines of being one of those actors who sat around having a cup of tea, moaning about pickup times. Everyone's there for a reason. Let's just all get on with it. So if you're not happy to be doing that job, there's 75,000 other people in the country who would. So
there's a lot of people on this call tonight who would be very happy to be doing Downton Abbey and Outlander and stuff.
No, and that's what I'm saying. So if you're there, you've got to be happy to be there, and you should be. And I have been, and I've always, you can't always expect dream tickets along the way. I have been very fortunate with work. There's always more I want to be doing.
love it. He's great, isn't it? And Alex says, yeah, he's great. And he is. I just think that the character that Eddie's playing could have just been like written for him. It suits him so well. And he really has freaking grafted. I mean, like, honestly, like, and that's the thing is now people will see him in that. He's also in Star Trek Picard. I think he plays Patrick Stewart's son in it. And they will see it now and be like, oh, it's just been dead easy for him. He went from Downton to this. He didn't. He went from Downton to not a lot, to really struggling, to then going, how can I give back? Ed was on Instagram every day in lockdown initially, reading stories to kids at 4 p.m. every day. Because he was like, how can I just give back while everybody is basically trapped in the house, like when we first got locked down. He's a really good guy and he's worked his ass off. And like he says there, he always still struggles with being satisfied and that kind of like that, that belief and that confidence that we all have. But again, it's about not complaining about how it is and how your career has gone. He ended up starring in Eragon, a film, when he was like 16. He was being, starring in the show, being flown around the world first class, and the film didn't do anywhere near as well as they thought it would do. And then he was basically just dropped back into reality, and like he was like, oh my god, like it really affected him because like, I thought this was going to be it, and then it wasn't it. So mentally, that was really, really difficult for him to to sort of deal with. So he's not had it like dead easy at all. And again, it's another example of someone who doesn't sit there and complain. He just goes, right, what can I actually do about it? So maybe I'll tweet that video or I'll Instagram that video, put it out, and I'll tag Ed in it and go, mate, come on, are you going to come and do a podcast or what? I think he spends a lot of time in America now, but would be good to it'd be amazing to have Ed back on at some point. Right, I just found one other video on confidence that I'm going to put out on TikTok this week, but you guys can see it first because again, this ties into some of the stuff we talked about tonight. Let me just see if I can line it up here. For those people that did Bulletproof Actor, you'll know I'm sort of massive on cultivating authentic confidence. You might be like, oh, I wasn't born with confidence. It's a lie. We can cultivate confidence authentically. We can manufacture it effectively and it not be faking it till you make it. It not be that bullshit. It can actually be real belief. So Petch cut me this today. I'm going to put it out tomorrow, but you can see it first. There's no music on this. Sorry if it's slightly boring, just speaking, but there will be great music on it when it goes out on TikTok tomorrow. Confidence isn't something that you're born with at all. That's a myth and a lie. Confidence is something that you absolutely can authentically cultivate without faking anything in your life. And confidence is cultivated through 3 C's. Initially, that's courage. You're going to need 5 seconds of courage to commit to the thing that you want to try. And it's through that commitment that you're developing this capability, which is the 3rd C. So it's courage, commitment, and then you get the capability through the commitment. And once you feel more capable, that's where the confidence comes back in next time you do something. I will explain that a little bit more because obviously it's a TikTok clip, just very, very quick. But yeah, 3 C's, write these down, and then you can just think about them this week. So ultimately, if you're going to build confidence this week to take more action, to send more emails, to get rid of any complaining you might have been doing about how hard it is and actually take control of your life. You're going to need 5 seconds of courage. Imagine you're on the side of an aeroplane about to jump out and do a parachute jump. You're going to need some courage to get on the side of that plane and jump. You're probably going to be pushed the first time you do it. You can't be confident, can you? The first time you're doing that. Nobody could be. Once you've had the courage and you've basically jumped out of that plane, you've committed to that task. So as an actor, that might be you hitting send on an email. It might be walking through the door of an audition room. You're not going to run out really, and you can't get that email back. You've committed to it. And through that commitment and committing enough time to, improving on something in your life or your career, you will develop capability. And it's that capability that then gives you confidence. So ultimately, one message from this tonight is if you have been putting off doing something because you're scared of the outcome, and it might be as simple as sending an email to, we mentioned Andy Pryor before, maybe people are like, oh, I'd love to reach out to him, but I'm a bit scared. Until you actually do it, you're never going to develop the capability to become confident at it down the line. So you're kind of lost anyway. So it's better to do it. You're never going to get it wrong because you can't get it wrong, but it's better to do it than maybe get no reply the first time you send an email. And then go, okay, right, maybe I should, I didn't get any replies from those emails that I sent out. I sent 10 that were very similar. Let's change up the template that I'm sending out next time. And then the more you do it, the more you commit to that, you develop the capability. So you get better at writing emails and then you'll get more responses. So again, yeah, just something else that I just saw on my desktop a minute ago. Thought I'll play that out actually as well because that's quite relevant for tonight as well. Sharon said she did a bungee jump years ago with her husband on a honeymoon, and we had to be pushed. Sharon, you are braver than I. There is no way I am doing a bungee jump ever. There's just honestly, I can promise you, I will never do one. Even if it's for charity, I would rather pay the charity whatever someone was going to pay me to do the bungee jump out of my own pocket, not to do the bungee jump. Because for me, I'm like, bungee jumps are absolutely an unnecessary dice with potential death. Anything where I'm like, I don't have to do this, but it really could end up in death. I'm not prepared to do that, Sharon. I just can't. I'm probably a scaredy cat, but there's courage to sort of achieve things, and then there's things that I think are just like unnecessary dangers. Bungee jumping is definitely, in my opinion, an unnecessary danger. I will never do it. And Sharon says I'd never do one again. Alex says, where's the courage? But I've explained, Alex, that's courage I do not need, mate. Right, quickly, 7 minutes left before I go and get my breakfast from Sainsbury's. Tomorrow night, I would love as many people on this call live as possible. So tomorrow night for members of ActsOnThis.tv, and if you're not a member, get a membership for this call. Come and join us. Let this be the first call you join. It's going to be a cracker. And tomorrow night, anyone who's interested in working on shows like Emmerdale, Casualty, Death in Paradise, Father Brown, Doctors, and more recently Sky's Brassic comedy Super Smash, starring Joe Gilgan, Michelle Keegan, a whole host of amazing people, written by Danny Brocklehurst and Joe Gilgan. Incredible show. Ruth Carney, TV director, Ruth Carney is going to be on the call with us tomorrow night for all members of ActsOnThis.tv, a private mastermind call. No one else gets access bar members. And ultimately, it's a way for you to learn how to get on Ruth's casting radar, how to get your stuff over to her, how to hopefully land auditions with her in the future, what it's like auditioning for Brassic, what it's like working on Brassic. The next season of Brassic has, as far as I know, been greenlit. It's going again. I think that'll be the 6th season of it. Ruth, I don't know, maybe we'll be directing another block of Brassic down the line in that new season. Perhaps. Not sure yet. But she's a director who you absolutely want to get to know. Would urge anybody to be on this call live tomorrow night, potentially jump on camera, have a little one-to-one with Ruth. But here's a little bit about what's happening. Actors, listen up, right? If you are looking to book more TV roles this year while stressing less, I want to invite you to this week's ActOnThis.tv live mastermind session. It's taking place on Tuesday, the 21st of March at 7:30 p.m. on Zoom with this absolute legend here, director of some incredible TV shows, including Father Brown, Emmerdale, Casualty, Death in Paradise, and Sky's comedy smash hit Brassic. It's Ruth Carney back in the house. Ruth, welcome back to Acts on This. What are we going to be talking about on Tuesday night then?
Well, we can talk about Brassic and what a mad show that is to work on, and also casting on Brassic and maybe, how you go about that. And yeah, I'm up for answering any questions people have got.
I love it. Ruth is an open book, and I've worked with Ruth, one of the most generous, kindest directors going, somebody who should be on every actor's radar to work with, particularly now, Ruth. You might be going to do some more exciting stuff that we can't talk about, but fingers crossed for that happening. Actors, if you want to get involved in this, you want to potentially jump on camera, have a little one-to-one with Ruth. Any questions you've got, we want to answer them. Anything we can help you with that's going to help you push your acting career further, faster. Basically, get involved. ActOnThis.tv/live for full details of this session and every session as well. We do this every single week with the biggest casting directors, agents, actors, writers, directors, producers in TV. Best people in the industry, basically, Ruth, including yourself, obviously. And a little bit of pressure now. Why don't actors want to miss this session in particular?
Because I'm honest, and I will give honest feedback and give an honest answer, and not BS people.
Absolutely. Tuesday night, it's going to be a BS-free zone. Be there. ActOnThis.tv/live. ActOnThis.tv/live if you want to get your membership and join us live for that call, and it will be a no BS zone. I promise you, Ruth is one of the most... I met Ruth when I did Doctors years ago. Not at the Doctors, did the BBC show Doctors. And a brilliant director to work with, very kind, incredibly kind, actually, incredibly generous. Proper actors. People always say that, don't they? A real actor's director. I don't know, who isn't an actor's director, I guess, but likes to work really closely with actors. And she's brilliant, and she is absolute no nonsense. Just what you see is what you get, and proper. just sort of no BS. So it will be a proper BS-free zone tomorrow night. And yes, Jane, you said, will you be able to see the recording of tomorrow's session once you are a member? Yeah, so you get in the archive. I try and keep, probably, to be honest, the last 18 months worth of calls. So in the archive, in the members area, and that's on this, when you get a membership, you'll have access to all of that. So that would roughly... It's going to be about 85 recordings in the members area from previous calls. So there's an awful lot to go at, even if you're not, you're just joining now. And there are calls in there with the biggest casting directors, literally the biggest casting directors, agents, actors, directors, writers, and producers in TV, and other service providers as well, headshot photographers, showreel providers, voiceover artists. So much content in there. Like, it's literally worth its weight in gold. Just treat it like Netflix. Scroll through. And just have a look at some stuff. In fact, let me show you. For those people who might want to see this, I'll just quickly go into the members area on the site. And sorry for those on the audio experience, you won't be able to see this. But yeah, so you will see this is the dashboard. So you've got all of the upcoming live calls, and that's where you get your Zoom links from at the top there. You've got the latest 5 features there. And then you've got all of these features. So these are just like, you'll see just 10 in each category initially. So features with actors, features with agents, features with casting directors. But if you click on show more, you'll see there's actually 4 pages. So there's 40 sessions in there with the biggest casting directors. And look at the casting directors, Emmy-winning casting director of Heartstopper and Line of Duty, Daniel Edwards. Hollyoaks casting director, Peter Hunt. A huge casting director Victor Jenkins is in there. BAFTA-winning casting director Aisha Bywaters, Jill Trevellick, who casts all the serial dramas and Downton Abbey. Roland Beckley cast Casualty. Kate Bone from Nina Gold and Robert Stern's office. They cast things like The Crown. Just the biggest names in the game, all in there for you. Just waiting once you've got a membership. So yeah, you'll get access to those. And if I do a new feature with a guest, it just replaces the old one. We obviously have the same guests back sometimes, so we just do an updated feature. Ruth's session tomorrow will be an update on one we did with her probably 2 years ago. We normally get guests back once every couple of years to refresh their session. So do come and join us. And yeah, Ruth did a TikTok or like a Instagram reel with Steve Everts, who's hilarious in Brassic. He plays Farmer Jim in Brassic. And yeah, Steve was like, Ruth, what's my motivation, darling, for this scene? And she was like, Ruth, she was like, Steve, your motivation is that you're fucking getting paid now. Get on with it. It was like, he's brilliant. He's very, very funny. Steve's great though. His language is off the scale. It's very, very blue. It's definitely not. Don't follow Steve and play his stuff out in front of your children. But he's very funny, and I couldn't think of a better character for him as Farmer Jim. It's like it was written for the guy. Right, folks, I'm going to love you and leave you, but thank you so much for being here tonight. It really means the world. Those people on the audio experience, thank you so much for catching up on the replay. If you're watching the replay on Facebook or YouTube, really means the world as well. Do come and join the community if you can. If you can't right now, if it's not feasible, cancel Netflix. That'll pay for your subscription. But if it's not feasible, then come and hang out on a Monday night, 9 till 10. We do this every single week. Follow @Act on This on Twitter. No. @Act on This TV. How did I get that wrong? I've had the account for 13 years. @Act on This TV on Twitter. @Act on This TV on Instagram. Ross Grant on LinkedIn, Act on This TV basically on every other social media platform, and TikTok now. I've not been posting enough TikToks this week, but I will post more of those as the week goes on. And just thanks everybody for being here. Let's dive into the comments one last time. Yeah, Caroline Stigidwaney, member of Act on This, did get a part on Brassic. I don't know if it was this season or last season. I can't remember, but I'm sure he was in it. He definitely had a little go on Brassic. I'm sure he did. I don't know what it was that he played there, but yeah, Steve Idwain, he's fantastic, great actor, proper Brassic material. I don't know what he played, but I'm sure he was fantastic in it. What video can I play? Let me play the Rachel mashup again for those people who haven't seen this podcast yet. This is worth getting a membership for just on its own. So do go and listen to this. Watch it this week if you can. And just let's make a concerted effort this week to make positivity louder in the industry. No complaining. If you see someone else complaining, let's smother them with kindness, and try and help them see whatever it is they're complaining about in a slightly more positive light, without upsetting them and causing even more complaining, because that can also happen. But thank you, folks. Love to you all. Have an amazing week. Hopefully I'll catch you up. I'll catch up with you tomorrow night with Ruth. And until next time, bye for now.
It's understanding that the game is unfair. Life's really unfair.
And the Oscar goes to The Silent Child, Chris Overton and Rachel Shenton.
How was it going? I've just won the biggest accolade in the world.
Like being handed the keys to a Ferrari when you've just got your provisional license. It's like, it's terrifying.
Our movie is about a deaf child being born into a world of silence.
If we knew what could have gone wrong, there's no way we could have done what we did. The reality of winning an Oscar is...
Yeah, that first year out of Hollyoaks wasn't great, yeah?
Yeah, it was the worst year of my life, to be honest. Yeah, I was really poorly when I left. I've never said this before.
Did your career even matter at that point? Or was it just like, I just need to live?
You have to go through these different troubling times in your life because that the objective of being here is to grow.
Do people really feel imposter syndrome, or are they just not quite confident in their ability?
Be alright with change as an actor is absolutely imperative. I don't know really if you can make anything your total identity. I think it's dangerous. I think if you focus so much on being this one thing, then what happens when you're not? Success isn't final in our industry.
Are you saying that when you were starting out in the acting industry, Academy Award winning Rachel Shenton, you wish Acts on This had existed and you would have joined?
Go on then, yeah.